Hey friends, this is Anessa, and so happy to be back on the channel with another process video for you. This time I'm working with the Floral Globe Cutfile from Paige Evans, and you can grab this cut file in the Silhouette Design Store. It is downloadable in all the formats, so if you use a Cricut machine or other machines, it works as well. So I cut mine out on a 12 by 12 textured white cardstock, and I'll include all the links and products that I used in the description. But once I kind of cut it, peeled it off my mat, and I didn't do a double cut, so I had to kind of go and poke at some of the pieces to get them to come out. So I would recommend, because it's a little bit more intricate, probably do a double cut. So let the machine cut it twice just to make sure you're not having to go back in and figure that out. Now, I knew I wanted a patterned background. I wasn't sure which color to go with. My photos are not really travel related, but I love this collection. It just arrived last week, and I did an unboxing video, so you can check that out if you want to see all of it. But I picked out a couple of the patterned papers that I thought worked well in terms of the colors in my photos, and I decided to go with this orange one. So I think this is paper number 9 from the collection. I also wanted the cut file to have a little bit more added texture to it. So I did machine stitch the outlines of the globe in a gold thread, and then also all the continents as well. I was about to call them countries, oh my, but the continents. So I did stitch around those as well. And in person, it looks really pretty. I love the added interest that it adds. Now for all those, well, they're not squares, but I guess they would be squares if it was flat. All of those little pieces, I wanted to back them in different pattern papers. So I just grabbed my 6 by 8 paper pad from the collection and kind of did a selection of blues, pinks, and oranges, and the yellow, I think. And then I guess somewhat of a neutral with the white and gold words on it. Just trimmed off little strips because I don't need a lot. And then I was trying to figure out my placement of where I think I'm going to put the photos. So in terms of backing a cut file, I usually start with putting the front of the pattern paper is flat down on the table. You put the cut file over it, and then you trace the inside of the piece that you want to cover. And then you want to leave enough of a border as you're trimming it based on the thickness of the cut file. So it'll vary depending on how big or small you're cutting, or just how the cut file is designed. But yeah, and then you just go around for any pieces that you want to fill in. I chose to leave the florals just plain white. I didn't back those, but you can also kind of mix and match, right? If you want to leave the inside not backed, maybe you do the florals. You can also do it all in white, or just if you cut it from pattern paper. So lots of ways to use the cut file, but I wanted to add colors right in the middle of that in the globe. So as I kind of went around, wanted to kind of sprinkle each pattern paper across the globe so I could kind of balance out all the different colors and patterns that are there. So I didn't record me backing all of the pieces just because it takes about half an hour to do, and it's a lot to watch. So I'm going to kind of jump forward and show you when I did the last piece, and then show you that final product. Okay, so now I'm back with most of the pieces down, and I'm adding my last one, and it's going to be this smaller print floral. Now, when you get towards the end and you have lots of kind of space where you don't have to be as precise, I just go to town and kind of hack it. I don't even trace and trim anymore just because you're not going to see it. So it's okay. It doesn't have to be super pretty. So with it all done, I love how it turned out. Once we get to the final look of the layout, you'll notice I do end up covering up a lot of it, which I'm a little bit sad about because it put a lot of work into it, but sometimes that's what happens. So don't really always know how I'm going to use it when I start. So that's just the way it turns out. But to adhere my cut file, I am using a foam strip. This one's from SpiegelMomScraps, and I like that it's easy to work with. It's got a nice thickness for dimension, and it's a big roll, so you get a whole lot of foam tape there. And I use enough pieces to just make sure that when it's on the page, I don't get any weird craters or dips. And then you can go ahead and adhere it. For the thinner pieces, I did use my little foam strips that I usually use for shaker pockets, just because the width of the cut file just wasn't enough for the other foam tape that I was using. So I do this a lot. I have a whole selection of foam tape, dots, squares, whatever it can be. I probably have it in my stash, and it's really helpful when you're working with just a variety of different spaces and sizes. And then once you've got all your foam tape down, go ahead and take off all the backing pieces, and then you can adhere it to your background. Now, because the collection has some gold elements in it, I wanted to bring in a pop of gold, and I'm using a fab foil from SpiegelMomScraps, and I'm just gonna use that to back or create a back for my photo. So just a frame, and I trimmed it pretty thin in terms of the border around it. And you can go as thick or as thin as you would like. And these foils are self-adhesive. I chose to just leave it on the backing and use it that way, but these are great for other uses as well. And I've got some videos that are coming up that'll show you other ways that I use it. So anyway, once you have your photo matted on the foil, then you can kind of go ahead and continue to build your layout. So by this time, I had already adhered my cut file down, and I was starting to build and adhere my photo. I'm going to add a little tag to the top of one of the photos as well. But I did want to note that I decided to add some paper strips later on, and I would do that if I was going to redo that layout. I would do that before you adhere the cut file. So you'll see it when we get to that, but just keep that in mind. To me, it was looking a little bit too plain, so I wanted to add kind of some thicker paper strips going through probably middle of the layout. And here I am doing that piece. So I did distress them and took a little bit of kind of finagling to get it adhered straight and not showing up through the cut file. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. So a T-square ruler is definitely your best friend in this to make sure things are lined up straight. I ended up adhering both sides and then realizing that it wasn't straight and had to reposition. So in any case, learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you have an easier time with this step. So yeah, the struggle was real for me, but I get it on finally, and it was straight, and I was pretty happy with the result. I think it just makes it pop a little bit more and doesn't look so plain. So with that step complete, now I wanted to move on to the title, and I started putting my little alphabet or my letters onto the ruler. It was good for lining up and getting the spacing. They are pretty, actually, were pretty sticky. So I had a little bit of a tough time getting them off the ruler, but it did work out well. And my purpose for this layout, so the photos are of my hubby and I. We celebrated 16 years of marriage in June, and it was a Thursday night. We were both really busy with work, and the kids had activities in the evening, so we didn't have a chance to get out for dinner. But we did stop at a new cafe that opened up called Tiamo. So they have like smoothies and the mochi donuts or mochi donuts. I never know how to pronounce it. But anyway, so it was, we took some pictures, and those are here. And my title is obviously celebrating our relationship and our marriage. So I kind of made a play on the globe. You make my world go round. So it's a cute title, and it also has a second meaning because I love sweets and desserts, and he loves donuts. So, I mean, all of those things make our world go round. So it's a great title, and I did end up using just a piece of transparency that I have for doing the rest of the rows. It was a little bit easier to work with than the ruler, but the ruler was great because it helped me make sure that the title was straight across and helped me with the spacing. So with the title in place, I moved on to embellishing the rest of the page, and I wanted to add something in the top right corner. So I started playing around with the different tags and tabs that were included, and was just trying to figure out a placement. I did change some of these to different ones, and I actually ended up trimming my own from paper number 20. Oh, what is this one? I think this is paper number 21. Yep. So you can you can pick different colors, right, depending on your scheme, but I chose a couple different tags from this paper, and it was just a nice pretty cluster. And when I work with tags or kind of building clusters, I like to layer. I like a lot of dimension, overlap. So, I wanted to look at a little bit thicker at the top there, just because you have, the central focal point with the globe that's really big and bold. So I needed something in that corner that was a little bit kind of more substantial than a few of the skinny tags. So I chose that rounded top one, and then started building my layers there. I did also add some twine to the tag, and you'll see that I end up adding twine. There's 3 different tags that end up on the layout, and I did 3 different colors. So try to do a little more contrast between the tag color and the twine, just to help it pop. I think that one at the top was yellow, and it made a little pretty bow. With that one done, I now went back and added twine to that blue tag that's right behind the photo of me sipping on my smoothie over there. So I made a little bow there as well. And then I kind of felt like there's too much empty space on the side next to me, so I wanted to kind of play around and add something there. Right below the photos overlapping, I added 3 different flowers and kind of overlapped them, and just using a dab of liquid adhesive to do that. And then the middle larger flower, the blue, actually used some foam dots to adhere it. And then I added just a little, I don't know what to call these, but a little thing of gold thread, just to help carry along the stitching and the thread. I'm adding the enamel dots to the centers of the flowers to have those pop up a little bit as well. Now continuing to just add embellishments from the sticker book, I found a gold little circle sticker, and just added it to the tag. Again, I wanted to bring some of that gold around the layout as well. And then I was trying to think like what else to add. So added the florals up there by the tag and was looking at what other pieces I could add to the layout. So like some of the little words, because there's not journaling on here per se just yet. I say yet. I added a couple of the sayings right at the top on the tags. And of course, you can't forget adding or adhering the flower and then adding the little enamel dots to the centers here. All right, so the last step to this layout was adding the tag. And this was also from paper 21 and just added some blue twine here. I would say maybe next time I would have just written on the cut file itself on one of the continents and not worried about the tag, but live and learn. I do still think it's really pretty, but it gives you an idea if you were gonna create this layout of another option. So thanks so much for stopping by and watching, and I hope you've gotten some ideas to take back, and I'll see you next time. Have a fabulous day.